When I saw the list, I was like, no one's choosing big songs. I think everyone was like afraid to do it a little bit, and or maybe they felt like it was too obvious. And I just noticed that there was this big gap in there, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna do them.
Ryan Adams said that he wanted to do Old Man all by himself, which is horribly devastating to all of us that spent time learning Old Man. Matt never learned it.
I wanted the song to kind of have a presence that wasn't going to sound like the record, and I knew that it would be foolish to rock that song out because, I mean, it can be rocked out, but why? So I just knew right away, I was like, it'd be better to take it to as far away from that as I could.
Oh man, take a look at my life, I'm alive like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. Oh, look at my eyes and you can tell it's true.
There's a lot of familiar faces that we've been playing with at these shows for a long time, and it's awesome to see everybody again. I feel like every time we do one of these shows, it's like a kind of a homecoming. You know, when we started doing this, we really had no expectations about who might show up. We were always kind of doing it for the love of it.
We started doing it 10 years ago, strictly here in New York. Everybody had a day job.
It was Bob Dylan's 60th birthday coming up, and we decided that we were going to celebrate Bob Dylan's birthday by playing Bob Dylan songs all night.
At Manitoba's, which is this tiny little dive bar in the East Village. It was packed, there was a line out the door. So then the next year on Bob Dylan's birthday, we went to a slightly bigger dive bar in the East Village.
Every penny we might have made out of any of these venues that we went to all went back to put the show together. It was really a labor of love for many years.
It wasn't sustainable. It was just, you know, we were losing money. We drank more beer at the show than we actually made. And then we started working with Bowery Presents, awesome promoters here in town, also guys that we've come up with through the years. And they said, hey, you gotta do more of these. So then we started doing Tom Petty, and then we started doing the Stones. And like before we knew it, we were doing 3 shows a year in New York City, packing it out, selling it out with this amazing cast of characters.
You know, to have Jameson let us do these shows and foot the bill and allow us to raise money for charity is a real blessing.
Sweet Relief helps career musicians who are struggling with health issues, age-related issues. For a bunch of guys who've all been in the music business for their whole adult lives, it's very gratifying to give back. We call them the Cabin Down Below Band. Our partner, Matt, is partners in a bar, kind of like a secret little rock and roll hangout called the Cabin Down Below. That's our clubhouse. It's where we hang out and unwind. You know, and they're just phenomenal musicians, and they all have their own projects that they do. And of course, when they're not doing this, they play with Norah Jones as her touring band. For the record, they were our band first. So we're in the Music Building on 8th Avenue and 38th Street. It's an infamous place. We've been coming here for years. Come on in, meet the guys. Hey guys. Yeah, that's it. We'll just do it like that. He's probably gonna want to play piano. So he plays piano, yeah.
So we're gonna move the piano down?
No, it'll be where it is, and we'll just shine a spotlight on it. There's 30 songs in the set, 30 different artists performing. So I'd spend a few days with just the house band, rehearsing the songs. Tomorrow and the next day leading up to the show, it's like landing planes at LaGuardia. I've got artists lined up. Somebody's coming at 2, somebody's coming at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We usually go to about 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and we do like 15 artists a day. It's fun. You know, it's super fun.
Tomorrow's gonna be
Ryan's gonna be
shit.
fucking loud. Well, I don't know. Ryan will be semi-loud. Nick's gonna be loud. Sammy's gonna be retardedly loud. Ryan Adams is gonna be loud. Michelle
Loud.
Branch, semi.
Michelle
Jade,
Branch is an animal.
Jade's gonna be mellow.
Jacob will be Butch's song is gonna be, or our ears are gonna be ringing, and then Danny's
Then
song
Pearl
is
Jam.
Then the Pearl Jam number. We haven't rehearsed it.
It's like the same thing. It's the same thing. It just doesn't have a moon. It's just Harvest. Do you know how many songs have the word moon in it in Neil Young?
A lot.
Now look. Let's look. Let's do a moon search.
No, I'm not doing
This is the first Neil Young show that we've done. And we love Neil. I mean, we're like obsessed with him.
Norah Jones has been asking us for about 5 years now to do a Neilfest. So the time has come. And in about 2 days, we're gonna get on stage at the Bowery Ballroom. And for 2 nights, we're gonna play about 30 or 35 Neil songs.
With artists like Neil, I mean, it's a huge catalog. It's just this enormous catalog of fantastic musics. You know, you dive into this world and you start talking to, you know, there's 30 artists on the bill. I have this in-depth conversation with 30 different artists about the nuances of the different songs. And then you start to think about when did this song come out? When did he write it? Where was he? So you really like get immersed into the world of the artists that we're honoring, but then you learn so much about the artists that we're working with that's gonna be performing with us. Like, it's a joy.
How can I praise you, love me? Am I lying to you when I say I believe
I mean, that's so beautiful.
You chose the best song.
I mean,
I'm not gonna cry.
I know, I'm crying.
Like my parents are gonna be there, and I used to dance on my dad's toes to this song. So
Oh, really? No, really, no, really crying.
he's just one of the artists that everyone in my family loved, and great sense of melody, and it's a fun memory of my childhood.
Harvest Moon was my wedding song this year. I got married this year, so it was one of the first songs I learned how to play on the guitar, and it was one of the first songs I heard when I met my husband.
But there's a full moon rising. Let's go dancing in the light.
Or the camaraderie that everybody has every year when you walk into the backstage area, like before every year that we've done it. It's so great. Like, that's one of my fondest memories. It's just everybody. It's almost like having a reunion of good friends, which is cool. And they're adding new people all the time, which is exciting. Somebody had a bright idea of inviting Mickey Raphael along, who is the harmonica master, and I might get kicked to the curb.
I've never played these festivals before, but actually how I found out about it was I saw Butch Walker's Instagram post and saw the poster on it, and I had just been with Norah a couple of days before, so I asked her about it, and she said it was a great festival. So I'm going to be in New York anyway, and I spent a lot of time. I've been playing with Neil off and on for the last 30 years, so it's always great to to honor him in some musical way. It's a great fundraiser, for Sweet Relief, so the money's going to a great place. And it's just fun to play with all these players. A few I know and a few I don't know, so I'm anxious to be able to make some music with some guys that and get girls that I've been a fan of.
Baby, melt my mind. Make me feel like a schoolboy on good
I
time.
love Neil Young. I love his songs. When I've been writing songs since I was able to babble. I started to write out the lyrics of people that I thought were amazing songwriters and look at them on paper, the structure and how they lay on a piece of paper. A lot of the tunes that he has, they can be really great long stories, or they can just be simple and matter of fact with an excellent, tight melody and story. So I feel like Neil Young in some kind of way is a teacher for me, and he's taught me how to write, songs and how to become a better songwriter.
Yeah, usually it's like a little give and take. You'll send a couple of ideas, songs, like your wish list, and then they might send back and maybe, well, what if you did this or this, that, the other, and sometimes it goes back and forth a few times, but this time it was like, Alex was just like, hey, send me your list, but I can't help but hear you doing Mr. Soul, and I'm like, that's my single top one I would have wanted to do, so I'm a pig in shit, as they say.
I think it's cool when a group of musicians get together to celebrate an artist because everybody has their own interpretation of the song, and we're not trying to do it exactly the way that Neil does it. We're not Neil, and I think it's really great to see other people's point of view and the songs that other artists gravitate towards. It's really sort of interesting.
In Cinnamon Girl, I kind of knew I wanted it to be sort of chilled out. I knew it would stretch a little bit more, and it would probably feel a little better to the audience to not sort of emulate it. Because you don't want to do a karaoke version, or at least I don't. I want to find a new way to get into the groove.
Just like you were playing all like maybe you just got like a chest infection and you were given some like codeine cough medicine and you were taking the day off and somehow you had to play the song.
Okay. I got it.
Or more sativa, less indica.
Got it.
Got into Neil Young probably like 10 years ago, and yeah, just through all the different phases of my life, he's sort of been there, kind of like a father figure. So this song, Everybody's Alone, I had misheard the lyrics, because there's a part in the song where he says, I want you to know that I love you so much, I can hardly stand it. But for the longest time, I thought that he was saying, I love you so much, I can hardly stand you. And I just accepted, I was like, that's cool, Neil.
Got my first guitar when I was 14. The first songs I learned were Love is a Rose and what other Neil Young song, Sugar Mountain. Those were the first two songs I ever learned on guitar. So I grew up listening to him and huge super fan. The song I'm doing is a murder ballad, so thankfully it doesn't have any real connection to me. I've always loved the song. I feel like there's such a giant catalog of his. There were so many songs to choose from. I was like, I want to do the ones that I know so I don't have to look at a lyric sheet and the ones that I can sing in my sleep.
Whenever we launch one of these things, we sit down and we make this wish list of who who do we want to perform at the show? You know, Austin's really good about researching, like, is there anybody we're not thinking of that like has an particular affinity for this artist, or has covered them, or is, you know, something like that. And then we'll come up with this huge wish list. And it's always like a really interesting group of people. Caleb Falwell, he's a pal. He's been an amazing supporter of this thing too. He's a huge talent, and he's a great guy.
She grew up in a small town, never put her roots down. Daddy always kept her moving, so she did too. Somewhere on the desert highway, she rides a Harley Davidson, her long blonde hair flying in the wind. She's been running half her life, the chrome and steel she rides, colliding with the very air she breathes. The air she breathes.
Patrick Carney of the Black Keys is another one. His support and encouragement for this thing has been amazing, and it's brought a legitimacy and a credibility to it that has enabled it to survive.
I missed the boat growing up because I grew up a metalhead, playing in, you know, metal bands and being a screamer. And my mom always had this cassette tape bootleg that she made of Harvest Moon or Harvest. And so I ended up listening to that occasionally while recording over the cassette, you know, at home. And so a lot of those songs just stuck with me as I got older. And then I think they probably just meant a lot more to me when I got older and wiser. I picked Rockin' in the Free World, which is not one of his more subtle moments, but neither am I.
You know, we're 10 years on with this thing, and you know, the caliber of artists that we're getting to do these shows is I'm impressed, and I'm running it, and it's like, pinch me. You know, it's like we say this, you know, we say dreams do come true to each other all the time. We love it, the artists love it, the fans love it, and we're giving back to, you know, an artist community that needs it.